am ready to go. But I am taking this slow. I'm taking it very, very slow. So hopefully and prayerfully, I'll be back in person, live in person in the studios in May, the first Thursday in May. I hope to come back in. So I have a guest, Denise Watson, who has her own licensed clinician. Um, she is MED, LMHC. She has her own practice. She's been what's going on with your camera, Denise?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's something's happening. I'm just trying to, my internet is giving me a signal, but give me 1 second. I'm gonna get it
I
together.
like that picture.
You like my picture? Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
my power to the people, girl.
I hear you. I hear you. So me and Denise was talking, and we come from the same background. I know her uncles and aunts, and so we came out of Orchard Park. As did Renee Wise, who was our engineer today. She also is from Orchard Park. So
Okay.
Denise, you was telling me about the things which you do. Could you explain, give us a little bit about your background? Because I just recently met you. I met
Yeah.
you when we started working with Mac Hudson in the Black Agenda Coalition. And
Yep, last summer. Last summer, I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Priscilla Flint, who just, I thought about you a lot when I didn't see you at the meeting. So let me start off by saying thank you so much for having me this morning. My name is Donnie Watson. I'm a licensed mental health counselor, the first formerly incarcerated licensed mental health counselor in the state to open up a private practice working directly with and for formerly incarcerated people. So,
okay.
yeah, that's what I do. And my private practice is Crossroad Counseling Services. Um,
Mm-hmm.
Prior to me opening up Crossroads, I've been, in the field for a little bit over 15 years with range from case management to advocacy, working with teens and young mothers, working in healthcare with my elder population. So yeah, now I'm strictly doing my own thing, branching
Mm-hmm.
off, learning about me and the superpowers that I possess within, I like to call them. So thank
Right.
you.
Thank you. So tell me exactly what you do. Do you counsel just returning citizens, or do you counsel? And what kind of counseling do you do? Do you have like group therapy? Do you have like so yeah, tell us a little bit about that and how
Yeah.
that works. And where, your office, how, someone's interested, how do they find you?
How do they get in touch with Crossroads? So Crossroad Counseling Services is located at 1127 Harrison Ave, right in the heart of Roxbury, right across from Orchard Park, when we were talking
Yeah.
about Miss Priscilla.
Yeah.
So you were familiar with that building. So I'm at 1127 Harrison Ave. I can be reached we have a website, www.crossroadcounselingservices.com. You can send an inquiry to me through the website. I am also on Psychology Today. Depending on, word of mouth, I typically get referrals from incoming partners. I do not just work strictly with formerly incarcerated people. Let me
Hmm.
say that. I
Hmm.
do work with my people.
Okay.
Depending on, any ranging trauma, right? Anybody who's thinking about changing, right? It's about
Hmm.
change. It's about being supported in that arena. And so I
Hmm.
work with individuals who woke up today and said, you know what, this just ain't it. I know there's something else for me, right?
Hmm.
Um, so a lot of my clients are justice involved, um, maybe have been incarcerated, or they have some family members who have been dealing with incarceration or some level of trauma.
Right.
So 90% of my practice is individuals who are justice involved. So I do outpatient therapy, which
Hmm.
is in either in the office or in their setting. Um,
Hmm.
Sometimes out in the community, just depending on what the weather is like and how we're
Hmm.
feeling. We'll have these unorthodox style sessions where we're maybe walking around Franklin Park or just out and about, because I really
Hmm.
believe that in order for people to believe in change, you got to see it.
That's
You
right.
know,
That's
I
right.
mean, it happens in the office. A lot of magic happens there, But
Mhm.
truth of the matter is, it happens wherever you are, and
Right,
so
right,
I
right.
meet my clients where they are and offer them a service that's tailored directly for them. Obviously, through the basic clinical assessments that we have to provide. But
Mhm.
I'm moving away where it's about positive psychology, because we all can point out the things that we've gone through, the trauma, the
Mhm. Mhm.
psychoanalytical way that we assess individuals is the typical approach to therapy. At
Mhm.
Crossroad, yeah, we do want to know about all the things that you've gone through, but most importantly, I care about the path that you're paving, right? What is it
Mhm.
that you need to get to where you're going? I
Mhm.
do that through, like I said, outpatient therapy, group therapy, which I love group therapy. That
Mhm.
is like the thing that brought me into saying, hey, I want to do this on my own, um, with my people, right? Because
Mhm.
something
Mhm.
about group therapy, you can see recovery and trauma happening, removing itself, right? Something that
Mhm.
would take maybe a year, sometimes a lifetime in an
Mhm.
outpatient individual setting, you can see happen in months, weeks,
Wow.
and out
Yeah.
through group therapy.
Mhm.
So I run a group, a very unique group, every Wednesday night,
Mhm.
called Connected for Life. It is with individuals who have returned home from serving life in prison.
Mhm.
So, alongside of Crossroad, I accept private insurance, but I also am contracted with CPCS,
Mhm.
which is the Public Defender's Office. And
Okay.
so lawyers will reach out to me and ask me if I can work alongside of them to prepare an individual for parole and release. And
Okay.
what that looks like for me is going in either behind the wall or via Zoom to connect with the individual, um, help them begin to dream out loud about
Mhm.
what home looks like. Because all of
Mhm.
these individuals were given life without the possibility of parole. Then
Wow.
the laws change.
And now they're on their way out. So you're
The
helping them
laws
to
change.
adjust. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. They're emerging adults. So these individuals went in before the age of 20,
Mhm.
and now they're all home some over the age of 50, some over the age of 60. They don't know
Yeah.
what it's like to be an adult in
Mm.
the real world. It's intensive work. It takes a heart, it takes a
Yeah.
soul, it takes
Yeah.
clinical knowledge and personal stuff, right? Like there's this trust building that happens with this population that you infuse restorative processes. So
Right.
everything we do is rooted in restorative justice
Right.
because before I committed any crime, there were
Mhm.
crimes committed against me
Right.
that
Okay.
nobody ever took accountability for. No one,
Mhm.
had to say sorry for. But when we
Mhm.
commit the crime,
Mhm.
the the
Yeah.
the, the
We
doors
get
close on us.
right. Right. We get the door
That's
slammed
right.
in us. Yes. Yes. I
Yes.
understand. So you must work with Stacy Borden a little bit.
Stacy Borden,
Yeah.
we so we
Yeah.
are we are all we compromise this. We make this ecosystem what it is. And so
Right.
we
Right.
do, Stacy and I work with the same population.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right. Right.
Yeah, we got some
Yeah.
history too. We go way back,
Yeah,
Stacy and I. So
I grew up with Stacy and her family. Me and her older sisters went to school together, and I've known her for a long time. And I love what she's doing at New Beginnings.
absolutely.
I always wanted to do that. That was a dream I had, to open up a place for women coming out of prison to help them get back into the community. So when she told me about it, I was like, yeah, I'll support you any way I can. And it just
Yeah.
so happens that my office is right at the edge of that street, Gaston and Blue Hill Ave.
Hmm.
So yeah, my theme song, you didn't hear it because we weren't in person, but my theme song is "A Change Is Gonna Come" by Sam Cooke. And every Thursday when I'm in studio, we hear that song. A change is gonna
Yeah.
come,
It's been
I
too
was
hard
born by
living.
the river,
Yeah. Yeah,
and
it's been
so
too hard living. I ain't
yes,
ready to die. Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
And so I was happy to meet you. I didn't really know that much about you when we was going to the meetings with Mac, But then I got to, when I start coming back, it's like I've been out of it for the last 3 months, and but I thank God a lot that I'm still here, because it could have been
Amen.
a different story, So that's how I know that God has a plan and a purpose for my life. I'm a proud member of the Nation of Islam. I was glad to see that you came and accepted this week, and with Milda, and that's what we need. We need the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because we have been so lost and confused and used and abused, and
Mm,
we don't know our own self. We don't know our own strength. And that's what I try to do. I try to encourage our people. I work with our youth. I run them. I'm a co-founder and owner of, not co-founder and executive director of the Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute. And that came about because a young man, Marcus Anthony Hall, who worked with me with my other organization, the Black Economic Justice Institute, he was shot and killed on June 14, 2016, and taking
mm.
his 4-year-old son to the barber shop. And
I
so,
remember that.
right. And
I remember that very, very well.
yeah, it was
Yeah.
traumatizing. But now his son is about to turn 14. I'm sure you must be familiar with Sheik, his mother. She does parties from above.
So I'm familiar with Chic, and I noticed that I'm familiar with her organization,
Mm-hmm.
Parties from Above, and throwing
Yes.
parties for babies
Yeah.
whose other parent is in heaven. And I wish she was around 30 plus years ago because that is one of my first introductions to trauma is that I was 15 years old and pregnant with my daughter, and my daughter's father was murdered on
Mm.
July 14th,
Wow.
1995. And so right there
Wow.
on Lawrence
Sorry.
Ave, right across from where you mentioned when you say Gaston Street, I remember
Yep.
Gang Peace
Yeah.
was Lawrence Ave, and Gang Peace on maybe it was like August 14th of 1995, they threw like a big peace event and they had Rashid's photo on the front of it. I was in the
Mm-hmm.
hospital, had just gave birth to our daughter 3 weeks after we buried him. And
Wow.
so,
I'm so
so yeah,
sorry to
my
hear
my
that.
story. Yeah, thank
Yeah.
God for the things that He allowed me to go through because I'm able to tell a story, and support
Mm-hmm.
individuals today in a very unique kind of way. And
Right.
so when
Right.
I tell you that I'm in the intersection of what it feels like to be healing from community trauma, community
Mm-hmm.
violence, um,
Mm-hmm.
incarceration, right? I grew
Mm-hmm.
up in drug abuse communities. My mother, through the grace of God, is getting ready to celebrate 32 years clean
All
on
praises
June
due to Allah.
1st.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then
Yeah.
my dad passed away 3 years ago from a struggle, 50 plus years of drug,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
struggle. So I live at the intersection of what it means to fight your fight, like my
Mm-hmm.
grandmother would say,
Mm-hmm.
fight your fight. Like I truly know what it feels like to not know if
Right.
tomorrow is going to be tomorrow.
That's right. That's right. So is that where the name Crossroads came
Crossroad.
from? Because you.
Crossroad is the intersection where the community with the greater need meet the community prepared to service them. We've
Mm,
all found ourselves, if we're blessed, we find ourselves at a crossroad more than one time in our life.
yeah. Yeah.
More
Yeah.
than
I
one
know.
time in our life, we find ourselves at the crossroad. At crossroad,
Mm-hmm.
we equip you with the tools that you need to keep going because we
Mm.
also know that this ain't your first rodeo.
Right.
We have
Right.
survived some things that we haven't necessarily took inventory of,
Mm-hmm.
right? And I
Yeah.
sit down, Miss P, and I think about the things that I've overcame. I'm like, wow. You
Mm.
know, when you mentioned parties from above and the little 4-year-old and his
Mm-hmm.
father, and I'm like,
Yeah.
me too. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Me too.
Yeah.
It's like, hey,
Yeah.
me too.
Yeah.
Um, we never get a chance to inventory or even smell the flowers for the seeds that
Right.
we planted. And so Crossroad gives you an opportunity to stop and smell the flowers, first of all, because they're not all dead, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Roses still bloom in dark places.
Yes.
And then
Yes.
I help you remember the tools that you used to get through those times. This is not
right.
your first rodeo. People
Yeah.
wake up and, get to crossroad, but you know how many days you woke up
Mm-hmm.
after a battle? Let's talk
Yeah.
about that. Let's figure out what tools you use and let's rust them off. So
Right.
yeah, that's why crossroad is crossroad.
Yeah.
Literally.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been there so many times.
Yeah.
I just never had anyone who understood me when I got there. That's the
Right.
difference.
Right. Right. And now
Crossroad.
you're turning around and you're giving it back. That's,
Yes.
I feel like I've lost both of my children. I lost my 4-year-old in a car accident and my 4-year-old in a fire and my 7-year-old in a car accident. And I suffered a lot of mental health issues. I was in and out of a mental hospital like 4 years, when I moved to Anchorage, Alaska, and came back. And it was in 1976 when they were busing our children, and it was a mess. It was just a teetotal mess. And I was lost. I was lost. I had to live with my
Hmm.
sister, my mom, and I was just confused and I was going through. And I didn't know why my son had died. I didn't, my first husband left him in the house by himself, and said 9 months before my son died, my son's father passed away. And it was just, I was only 19 years old going through all this.
Yeah.
And my sister, God bless, I thank God for my older sister Sarah. She helped me through this. I mean, she wound up taking me to the nut house, but it was because she didn't know what else to
You
do.
didn't know what
She's
to do
like,
with her sister.
Priscilla,
Yeah.
something's wrong with you. You're not you're not talking rational. You just and thank God I got through that, because they were giving me all kinds of crazy medications, Therozine
Mm.
and Haldol and all kinds of crazy things. So back in 2005, I had always said when I was little that I was going to write a book, and I didn't know what it was going to be about. I didn't know, but in 2010, I published my first book. I look back and wonder how I got over. It took
Mm.
me 5 years to write it, but all praise is due to Allah. And now my niece, Dominga Martin, we're getting ready to put it into a movie. And so prayerfully, 2027, we'll probably start doing the filming, and maybe 2028 it'll be out. But
There you
I've been up
go.
and I've been down, but I thank God for my life, health, and strength. If it had not been for the Lord who was on my side, where would I be? And that's why I think that's why I love the youth that I work with, even though they work my
Hmm.
nerves. But they're loving. Some of them, come from dysfunctional homes. Some That's why my heart went out to that sister Monica the other night at the meeting. I was just so I was just like shocked, because you could tell that she was really, really going through some stuff, and she had been through some stuff.
And she's
So
fed up.
yeah.
What I heard is somebody that's tired of telling her story to
Mm-hmm.
individuals who aren't doing
Listening.
anything about it. And
Right,
I think
right.
that's like, gives us a good segue to pivot into when we think about what we're doing, what's going on now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm not like a political person, but
Mm-hmm.
I've always been about me and my people. I don't mind
Right.
speaking up because you know
Yep.
something? They done already gave me a whole bunch of labels that I've overcome.
Right,
All those
right, right.
labels that they give me
Yep.
from age 15 all the way through. Yeah,
Right,
I put those in a briefcase.
right, right.
So I don't mind pointing out the things that have always made us feel uncomfortable.
Right,
I'm in a
right, right.
unique position. There was a time when I felt like what happens at, the State House or the White House don't have nothing to do with Darnice's house because it
Mm-hmm.
didn't. It really
Mm-hmm.
didn't. Like I come from generations of poverty and struggle, but also strength. I watched my
Right,
mother
right,
get it out the mud. I watched my
right.
mother get it out the
Yeah.
mud without even talking about it.
Mm-hmm.
Overcoming addictions in the
Yeah.
same community.
Mm-hmm.
Stayed in the same community where the pain started, right? Is where she also found her power, which is why my office is in Roxbury, right? The
That's
places
right.
that I once cried will be the
Mm-hmm.
places that I get to laugh. I get to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy, right? Um, but when we're talking about power for the people and power to the people, it looks different now. I used to see it, back some years, and politicians, and then you had your community leaders, and it looked like our community leaders were always bucking up to speak for us. But for some reason, the results aren't resulting, if that makes sense,
Right,
right? Like
right,
we're not
right.
seeing what's happening. Everyone's talking, everyone's pointing out the elephants in the room and pointing out the obvious, but what's really happening? They're trying to put a bus lane up Blue Hill Avenue. Blue Hill Avenue says the evacuation route, right? That's our evacuation
Evacuation
route
to where though?
to
Evac.
out of here if we gotta go, Miss P. But imagine it being one lane coming
All
out of
right.
Roxbury, going up Milton. We don't know. You know what happened in Louisiana. We don't know if it could happen here. I would hope not. But just let's say we need to evacuate, and we got one lane to get up out of Blue Hill Avenue. Like we're not thinking about the people. And so who's speaking for us?
Nobody. Really,
Right.
really,
Who's speaking
because
for us?
just like that meeting, some of the elected officials came, some came with excuses. They said what they had to say and they left. That's why I love Julia Mejia. I don't care what nobody says. Julia Mejia
Yeah,
is
we
on
love
point.
Julia.
That's my girl because she stands up. She speaks up,
And she speaks our language. She speaks my
Exactly.
language. She speaks
Exactly.
my language.
That's right. She understands the struggle. And
Yeah.
so I thought the meeting was very good. I'm gonna have Diane come on my show so we could talk about this again some more. But I felt like so we're talking about a meeting that was held at Roxbury Community College this past Thursday that was supposed to be like around the accountability of our elected officials. And that is one issue that I had, that we don't hold them accountable enough. We just continue to vote them back in, vote them back in. And what do we get? We get nothing. And we should learn by that we get nothing from them. And so we
Absolutely.
need to stand up, and speak out. We need to be on one accord. Like, these meetings are important. I think these meetings are very important, but I think we need to have more of them. I think we need to have them once a month, maybe, so people
Mm-hmm.
don't
Mm-hmm.
don't come to a meeting every 6 months and just vet. We need to be solution based. We need to create ways that we can make changes.
Absolutely.
And
Solution based.
it's only gonna work if we come together as a community, unity. The
Mm-hmm.
message for Savior's Day this year was, we must make our communities a safe and decent place to live. And that's what we have to do. It doesn't matter. We're all black. It doesn't matter if you come from Haiti, Trinidad, Barbados. It doesn't matter. We're still black, and they still look at us the same way. They don't care. They pit us against each other. They tell people, when you're coming from Africa, you're coming from these countries, oh, don't deal with American blacks because they're lazy, they're
Mm.
this, they're that. But we're not. Look what we have survived, being stolen from and taken and kidnapped from our own country. Our God was stolen from us, our names, everything. And so that's why I listen to the minister and follow the minister, Louis Farrakhan, because he's speaking truth to power. What he's been saying is true. What he has been saying is coming true, and people, we need to
Mm-hmm.
wake up. That we it's funny how um a lot of our people have gone into the legal weed selling business. And there are
Mm-hmm.
still people who are in prison because of that. Let them
Absolutely.
out. Let them
Yeah.
out.
Well, I mean, let's be honest too with that, Sister P. A lot of the cannabis shops that are owned by individuals who are, formerly incarcerated or have been charged, and that was the plan. So a
Yeah,
lot of this stuff,
it's a setup, another setup.
we've been sold a dream,
Yeah,
and we've watched a nightmare unfold in our
that's right.
face.
That's
And
right.
nobody really wants to say anything but let the officials and the folks who have been speaking for us for years, let them create the strategy. I'm here to say
No,
it's not happening.
no,
So
no. It's not working. It's not
right,
working.
it's not working. And it has not worked. Because
Mm-mm.
if it has ever worked, we wouldn't be where we are right now. If
That's
30
right.
and 40 years of the leadership that we've had in place literally have been doing their job or not doing their job, making sure individuals are doing their job,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think we'd be right here. We are
Right.
in a place where us Black folks are trying to figure out how to dance around saying exactly what needs to be said because this one don't want to upset the next group, right?
Right.
Because
Right.
everybody have, there's these dual relationships, and I understand that. I truly do. I truly do. But let's be real. So speaking of being real, the Black Agenda Coalition, which is where I met you at last summer, um,
Mm-hmm.
is not owned by anybody but us. When I say
That's
us,
right.
I mean Black people.
That's
It's a
right.
space that has been curated by our brother Mac Hudson, right? He put
Yep.
together this space and
Yep.
opened the doors at
Yep.
Torchlight for
Yeah.
everybody to come in and
Yeah.
let's talk about what it would mean to have a true Black agenda.
That's
And
right.
of course, as Black people, as professionals, we're so smart. We're like the richest, wealthiest mind. Like we are the bomb. I
That's
will
right.
say that. We are the bomb diggity. But when we get together, it explodes. For
Yeah.
some odd reason, the bomb diggityness doesn't find its place. See, I come from understanding that it takes 5 fingers to ball together to strike a mighty blow.
That's right.
I don't care if I'm the pinky or the thumb. A lot
Mm-hmm.
of the times I could be the middle finger, right?
Right.
As
Right.
long as, and being real, as long as we can come together, this is the idea, right? Come together. And I
Yeah.
think we lost our bearings. At some point, we lose our bearings, but the Black agenda is the agenda that we all need to be pouring into.
Right.
And I don't care if you're Black light skin or Black dark skin or Black from, migrated here, you're Black in Boston, and everything that's happening right now is going to impact you, the seeds that you plant here, and the seeds that they plant here. You
Exactly.
know,
My tagline for everything I do is we are the people and we have the
and
power.
we have the
You know,
power.
and I try to get people to understand that we have to come together. It's time out for pitting one against each other. It's time out for allowing people who don't look like us rule and control us.
And make
We
decisions for us.
Exactly. We have, like you said, we're smart. We have brains. We know what to do, but they're literally taking the resources from us. So we have to come up with other ways to bring our own resources. You have
Well,
your
to
own
be
business.
honest,
I have my own business.
right,
We need to
there
we
you have
need to
it.
be start having our own businesses and
You know
come together
something?
collaboratively.
You know something, Sister P, when you say that, like, they're taking our resources, they have never given us any resources. I'm talking about, like, when I told you, I said, what happens in the White House or the State House or City Hall's house never impacted my house. Like, I've been a young mother. I've had to throw bricks at the jailhouse, right?
Mm,
And
mm-hmm,
then be reprimanded, right? I had to
mm,
throw bricks at the jailhouse to make sure that my little daughter can have. And then
mm-hmm,
I'm reprimanded for doing so. I could never walk in and apply for benefits because I was under 18 and they needed my mother. My mother was working, so we didn't qualify for certain
mm-hmm.
things, right? So the
Yeah, yeah.
resources, the resources never
Got to
hit
you.
my household. Others
Yeah.
around me, right? They may have, but they just never been for me. I've always my business, you know, I build through insurance companies and other ways, but I don't operate off city and state funding.
No,
I
no,
don't
it's
walk around
horrible.
asking nobody for anything. Now, if
Mm-hmm,
I do, it's something we're doing together, right?
mm-hmm.
Let's raise some money so that we can get these individuals off on a trip or something. But it's no state or city funds.
Yeah,
And not because I'm too good or I think that, no, I just know that they've
yeah.
never been for me. The people
Right,
who are
right.
behind the pen are dictating. We had another meeting. We had to crash in on another meeting to speak loud in front of an individual who was using his power, his position to oppress us. And we
I
called him
believe
out.
you. I
and we
believe you.
called them
And
out.
that's what we have to do. We have to call these people out and let them know we watching you. We see you. You
Eyes
know?
on you. Yes.
Yes, yes, yes.
Yes. But you know something? We got to do that to our own too. Our
Exactly. That's
own.
right. That's
Our
right.
own. We
We
have to
they
be
don't get a
willing.
pass because they're just
Right.
as bad as the slave traders back in when they sold us. You know,
That's right.
they're just like them. You know, and a lot of
Perpetuating
people.
the same behaviors, perpetuating the
Exactly.
same behaviors that we have already gone through. So with the Black agenda, we are literally working on, we've worked it through already, a
Right.
policy and a plan to hold individuals accountable.
That's
That's where we
right.
have to start. You
That's
know,
right.
we're
That's right.
still building out this agenda, but we have a shell. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
Maslow's hierarchy of needs, you got to start at the bottom. You
That's
got to
right.
have that foundation before we can really build this pyramid. Because
That's
the
right.
pyramid is getting built.
That's
And
right.
when we
That's
on the
right.
top,
In fact, yeah. In fact, today is Thursday at 6 p.m. Meet us at Torchlight.
yeah, 6
Right.
p.m. today, 6
Uh,
p.m. every Thursday, we're at
every Thursday
Torchlight.
in person at Torchlight. You know, and I'm so thankful and grateful for Torchlight and the Nation of Islam because just look how many people have come through there. How
Walk through the doors.
it's a recovery center. It's the only black owned and run recovery center in the state of Massachusetts. All praises due to Allah because they got together, the Nation of Islam got together and they said, listen, we have to do something. And that's what I love about the Nation of Islam because they've always been doing something. That's what they're known for. It's helping our community. And people want to talk about them, people want to dog them, but they're the truth, you know? They're the
Yeah, it
truth.
is.
And the
And they
Bible says
speak,
the truth will set you free.
yeah, and they're disciplined. They're
Yes,
disciplined.
yes,
They move as a unit.
that's right.
What I like about the nation, and I've always
Mm-hmm.
noticed this about the nation, is they move with a level of confidence and
Yeah,
discipline
that's right.
that no words need to be spoken. And
That's
I think
right.
a lot of men, you know, especially the brothers and the young boys who don't have an identity, who
That's right.
don't really know which way to go.
Right.
There's nothing wrong with stopping over at Torchlight or at the mosque on a Sunday to
Mm-hmm.
really help you clear some residue.
Right,
Clear
right. Because
some
we've been
residue. And this
lied
is,
to so much. We've been lied to. We've been used, abused, and confused. You know,
yeah,
and so I am so thankful and grateful because I'm telling you, if you listen to Minister Louis Farrakhan, like I listen to him every night before I go to bed, I listen to one of his tapes, and he's back in the 80s, 90s talking about this stuff that literally is happening
it's
today.
happening today.
You know,
Yeah,
and I mean these wars and rumors of wars. I mean the things that are happening in our country to our people. It's you know it's been documented. It's already been foretold, and we
yeah,
just have to trust and believe. You know, but people, come on, we can do this. We can do this. We, you know, what another thing I like about the nation and the sisters and the brothers there, they actually, they a lot of them have their own businesses. Some of them have two and three businesses. You know, the nation does not take any government money. You know, all of the everything that they do is funded through the believers, through the members. You know, and another thing that drew me to them was the way that they treated me. You know,
there you
I
have
remember
it.
meeting the minister Louis Farrakhan in 1983. He came to Boston, and I remember going to Arlington Street Church, listening to him, and then going to St. Cyprian's Church, listening to him, and going to the mosque. That was the first time I was ever in the mosque in 1983. My little son, he wasn't even 6 months old yet, and
Mm,
my husband, I was married to Michael Curry's uncle, and he was from the Mau Mau. He had gotten out of prison, and he's like, I kept talking about Minister Farrakhan. He like, you in love? I said, no, I'm not in love, but I like him. You know, I like what he's saying. He's speaking my language. You know, because
mm-hmm.
like I said, I came out of Orchard Park. I was a hellraiser, and but we never really got to it where we could go to the mosque together. And but I always listened to
Mm.
Farrakhan. And then in 2010 and 10, 10, 15, I stopped. We went to it was the 20th anniversary of the Million Man March. I just knew I was gonna go to the Million Man March, but I had got sick and was in the hospital. That was my last nervous breakdown in 1995. God said, Priscilla, you'll never be in another mental institution again. And that's been
Hmm.
31 years, and I have not. I have tried, I have cried, I have stomped, I have screamed, but
Amen.
I have not been in a mental institute anymore. I was able to go back to school, get my master's in education. I mean, God has just really blessed me, and I
Isn't
know
he
He has.
amazing? God is he's truly amazing.
Yes.
He walked me in the Torchlight the past summer. I've always seen Torchlight. It used to be a hair salon. I used to get my
Yeah, it
hair
used to
done
be a
in there
hair
before it
salon.
was
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
was getting my hair done in there. I think
yeah.
Final Touch was in there too. That's down Dudley, if I'm not mistaken. They used to be in Grove Hall. But anyways,
No, they were in
um,
Mattapan, I think. I think they were in
Mattapan.
Mattapan. Yeah, but there
Got
was
you.
a clothing store in there.
It
Yeah,
was right, a
yeah.
clothing store. So I used to get my hair done in there. And when they turned it over to, Recovery Center Torchlight, I always felt like I know I can't go in there because that place is for Muslims. Like I'm like,
Yeah.
you can't go in there. You gotta, and
Good
so
morning, Brother Jeff. Good morning, Yvonne. Good morning, Almitra. How you all doing? They're listening to us.
good morning, everybody. So when I started going to Torchlight for the meetings,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, okay, let's see what y'all
Yeah,
got going on around here. I was checking it
yeah,
out. I'm like,
yeah.
what gets me all the time? And I
Mm.
just realized it. That orange, when you
I
walk in,
know. It's beautiful. It's
the it,
beautiful.
and it does something to
It's
you.
brightness. The
And
brightness of it makes you feel. I I always feel safe. I feel like it's a safe place.
safe
I
and
love being in there.
a place to think creativity. Something about
Yes.
that bright color orange. So Sister
Uh-huh.
Kiana Khan,
Yes, God
um,
bless my sister.
yeah, I love her. She's part of the Black Agenda.
Yeah, yeah,
And I met her in the room, and she wears, she's covered
yeah,
up, and I was just
yeah.
like handling her with care, right?
Yeah.
Like I don't, I'm like I don't, I I know I'm a lot. I'm
Yeah.
everything that I am and then some, right?
Yeah.
And I just wanted to make sure that I was gentle with her. But
Mm-hmm.
my sister she's good. She was like, no, no, no,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
a little bit about her enough was to know
Right.
that she's fighting for her dad,
Yes.
right? Who
Yes.
has been picked up by ICE. And when she started talking, I was like, oh, that's Sister Soldier right there. Like she has this
Mm-hmm.
real oomph and a
Mm-hmm.
protector. I felt
Yeah.
really protected, which is what I also feel when I come in Torchlight. The way the
Mm-hmm.
brothers greet you,
Yes,
the way they
yes,
move to the
yeah.
side and let you walk on by.
Yeah.
I can
They're
appreciate
very
that.
respectful. They open doors and they speak to you in a calm voice, and they
Absolutely.
and they will protect you. And another
Hmm.
thing I like, they don't have guns, they don't have weapons. It's their presence. It's their
That's right.
presence.
Yeah,
And so
yeah.
if anybody's interested, they can go on the
Please
website
come join us. Come meet us tonight.
torchlightrecovery.org. Yeah, and come by
Meet
tonight.
us tonight at
Because
6
I'm telling you, that
p.m.
meeting on Thursday, that was the first community meeting I've been to in 3 months because I've been sick. But
Hmm.
I tell you, having a heart attack, it'll make you slow down for a minute. It'll make you wake up and listen. And so I've
Yeah,
just been really trying to take it easy. I'm just so thankful because my youth, my program, my vice president runs Madison Park's youth programs. And she was able to allow my youth still to be able to work, even though I couldn't do the day-to-day things with them. But I thank God that they're still working, they're still gonna get their pay, and that hope prayerfully back in the summer we'll be back together again. But all things work together for them who are called according to the wishes of the Lord. I might be messing up this the scripture, but there's a God has a plan, and He's
hmm
Allah's the best planner. And so if we just follow the plan, we'll get there, and we're gonna have our trials and tribulations. But the
absolutely.
Bible says you're gonna have the trials and tribulations. And it's life. It's called life. And we don't walk a straight line. We don't We could, because we got so many bumps and curves. It's just like riding down Blue Ave, bump, 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 all
And
these
all the
speed
speed
bumps and
bumps,
stuff, you know.
all those speed bumps, right?
Yeah,
It's so true. It's
yeah,
so true, but we hold
yeah,
on and we take our time, and
yeah,
before you know it, you're the muscle memory. You remember that those speed bumps are there. So when
yeah,
you're on those roads and you start to
yeah,
feel that, you slow
yeah,
down and you brace yourself, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah,
like that's the art of life and on life's terms.
yeah,
When you start to realize, like, I'm not just trying to get through today. I want to
yeah,
possess the tools to get me through life, right?
yes,
It's
yes,
about really building up the capacity that we need to continue to live and not just survive, you
exactly,
know?
exactly. We should have the same. It should be the same. If you look at Roxbury, Dorchester, Mattapan, and you look at Newton, Wellesley, and Brookline, totally, totally different. But we could have that because we was. I remember listening to a. I Bear Witness with Minister Randy and Brother Charles, and they were talking about Blue Hill Ave and how Blue Hill Ave, all them stores and stuff used to be owned by Muslims. Blue Hill Ave was the black Wall Street, you know, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, things start changing, and we start leaving. We've been gentrified out of our communities, but a
But we can
change.
take back our power. We can get back, we can take it back. We
That's
can
right.
take back our
That's right.
power through the
Yep.
Black agenda. We're talking political talk with everyday people, right? We're
That's
talking
right.
policy and
Yep.
politicians with everyday people. We're focusing on education, mental health,
Yes.
economics, home
Yes.
ownership, right?
That's right. That's
Land.
right.
Like we
Yep.
want our land. We want
That's
our
right.
land, you
That's
know?
right.
Yeah, and so that's what we're building with the Black agenda. We would hope that everyone can join us. If not this Thursday, one of these Thursdays, find me on Facebook. I'm at Crossroad Counseling Services. My brother Mac Hudson. There's quite a
Yes.
few of us that are
Yes.
literally holding up
Yes.
this Black agenda, and we want more people.
That's right.
We want to capture the voice of the people. There's
That's
nothing
right.
about us without us, and this message goes to everybody who's, oh, we're speaking for us. Well, make
Yeah.
sure that you're speaking to us if you're
That's right.
speaking for us. If not, I'm going to ask you about it. It's
That's
really
right.
important that we get to the table.
That's
Everybody, we need
right.
to come to not
That's
just
right.
the round table, the
That's right.
rectangle table, the tables that aren't there. We need to be at the table. And if the Black agenda is not on the table, we will make sure that it's there. Like,
That's
that's
right.
the
And
important
another
part
thing,
about it.
we need to get all our people registered. So we got something that Torchlight on every Friday. It's called Everything Friday. And if it's nice and the weather's warm, we do voter registration out there. We have a little, it's a picnic, not a picnic, a gathering. People, you get hot dogs, free hot dogs, hamburgers, food. You come in, you get a tour. And it's a way for, because so many people go through that little space right there. That's a good way for us. We need to be getting people registered to vote.
Register to vote. There we have
Yes,
it.
because that's one of our problems. We feel like our vote don't count. But I say the only time your vote don't count is when you don't count.
Is when you don't count. Yeah.
And we need to let our folks know, those that are in office, we coming for you. We're coming for you because it's a new day. It's a new
It's a
day.
new day.
You know,
It's been too hard living, right? Is what you
that's
say?
right. And the change
Yeah,
is
it's a
gonna
new
come.
day. And we're
Cookouts.
coming with
That's
we're
what it is.
coming
We
with
have a cookout.
pleasantries. Yeah, we're coming
Huh?
with right. The only I don't get us going with that. We're coming with pleasantries, right? We're coming with a smile, we're coming in
Yep.
peace, but we're
That's
coming
right.
powerful. And if
That's
there's
right.
a moment that things get a little offhand, it's because you're not abiding to what we got going on here. This is
That's
not one of
right.
those situations where we're going to continue to keep asking you about how things are going. We know how it's going. We
Yeah,
don't
we
need to go
see.
to
We
any
got
more meetings.
eyes.
We don't right. We don't need to go to any more meetings and hear
Yeah,
about the trauma because we
that's
see
right.
it. We know the
Right.
White Stadium project. We know all
Yeah,
about it. We
yeah,
know all about the liquor licenses, right? We know
yeah,
all about that stuff. We're not stupid. We're not blind. We see who's quiet. We
yeah,
see whose pockets are lined. We know
yeah.
what time it is. And we're not here to take that away from you all, but we want you to know that the Black agenda needs to be on the table. And if it's not, we're removing the table and putting a new one there with the
That's
Black
right.
agenda on it.
That's
So
right. That's
that's
right.
how we do it.
All praises due to Allah. That's right. All
Absolutely.
praises are due to Allah. I'm so happy, that you came on. That you came
Me
on. I'm so happy I
too.
met you. That we're forming a sisterhood. That we're gonna be working together. We're gonna make some changes.
We
We
listen,
we're gonna,
change.
we're gonna yeah,
This is already happening. Look at it.
yes, yeah,
This is already
yeah,
happening. You know,
yes,
I
yes.
asked about you 2 Thursdays ago, and
Hmm.
then the following Thursday you were there, and now this Thursday I'm here with you. You see, this is not by accident; it's by design. I
Right,
said,
right, right.
what happened to the sister Miss Priscilla? And Sister
Yeah,
Khan told
yeah,
me, and then the next Thursday you were in the building with us. And now here we
yeah,
are this
yeah,
Thursday. And so this is not by a mistake, Sister Priscilla. I thank
yeah.
you for the work that you've done, for modeling what leadership and sisterhood looks like,
Mhm.
especially being our season, our elder, like
Mhm.
we want to see this. I'm in my 40s, I'm in my mid 40s. Um, I have a great deal of respect for all of the pioneers that have paved the way. Um,
Yeah.
but you got to reciprocate that like
Right,
this, right?
right,
Honoring a
right.
space to hear about the things that we care about too.
That's right. That's right.
You've done great work leading. I've watched
Yeah.
you lead the youth. We would like to have some of your youth join us too. We
Yeah,
need to
they
hear
were
your
coming, but
voice.
then when I got sick, they,
I
kind of
know.
slacked
So we would
off.
like to
But I'm
hold a
gonna bring them back.
space.
Frisky, how you
Yeah.
get up here?
And as a matter of fact, I'm going to make this executive call and say next Thursday, which will be the
Mhm.
Thursday during our April vacation, we would like to see more youth at our meeting
Okay, all
because
right.
that'll be the meeting for
We can
them.
maybe get some of George Grinner's Greatest Minds youth to come.
Yes,
I'll
I would
maybe
love
get
to.
some of Carrie Mae's her gang votes, and I'll get some of my youth from Marcus Anthony Hall Educational Institute.
Yes, let's
Yeah.
do a youth.
Check
Let's
out
have
our
a youth
website,
day.
mahei.org. Check out our website. I've been doing this. We created Marcus Anthony in 2022, I believe. But I have been doing the work. I have been working with Madison Park Development Corporation since 2015. And I've always
Hmm.
worked with the youth. I've loved the youth. And one of them, some of them are going to be running for office because
Good.
that
And
was the
that's what we
plan.
need to be preparing. That's
That's
part of
what
the Black agenda. We are
yeah,
preparing our own people to run for
that's
office. That's the
that's what I've
only
been
way we're
doing.
going to do what we got to do. And so there's a
Yeah.
branch on the Black agenda that is
Hmm.
preparation for politics.
That's
You want
right.
to be a
That's,
state rep, you want to be a city councilor.
that's
We
right.
have them now to help us
Yes.
help them. So this is
Yes.
all great. This is
Yes.
great.
Yes.
I
Um,
love that. I love that for the Black agenda, that we get to really focus on what it means to be all things Black.
that's right.
All things Black.
That's right. I'm trying to type in Torchlight Recovery on someone asked to see it. Torchlightrecovery.org. I hope that's right. Torchlightrecovery.org. Yeah. So, well, you girl, you know what? Almost out of time. I just got the 4-minute warning. So we're gonna
This is
have to
a
come
great
back.
conversation.
What I want to do, maybe with my first week back in May, I want to have some of our sisters from the nation come in. If they can't come in person, we can maybe have a Zoom set up so we could talk. Because I'm telling you, as a sister in the Nation of Islam, we learn how to sew, we learn how to cook, we learn how to keep house. We know I believe this next Saturday we're having a community meeting where we're gonna be giving away stuff, and
Yeah. Well,
we're
I'd
gonna
love to talk with you more
yeah,
offline about how we
yeah,
can contribute to building a sisterhood, reformulating what that looks like so
and
that it's
bringing in some
open
of our
and right.
young sisters.
That's
Uh,
right. That's right.
Sister Captain Cowell wants us to go into Jeremiah Burke School, and that we need to get
That's
our
my
young
alma
folks out
mater.
there.
I'm a
Yeah.
Burke Bulldog. That's my alma mater. So,
A lot of
yeah,
people went to the Burke. I went to Girls Trade. Um,
yeah.
I went to Girls Trade.
So,
And got kicked
yes,
out of there because I had my first child 15, and so
like me.
I got kicked. I left
We got
school.
a lot in
I
common,
thought I
huh?
was grown. At 15, I thought I was grown. Yeah.
Yeah, tell me about it.
Brother Larry Muhammad's watching us. Brother Jeff, all praises due to
Hey, my
Allah.
brothers.
Yeah, yeah.
Good
So
morning, brothers.
I know we're gonna get kicked out of it. We're almost
Yeah,
done. We
we're
got
we're
about
at
enough time.
time.
Yeah, but we're you know I love Boston Praise Radio. I've been a broadcaster on here for 10 years. Going the 11th year. This is my 11th year. I thank God for Pastor Bruce Wall, who had the vision to put this together. And this is our platform. We
Yes.
we have more broadcasters coming on because we need this. People need to hear what is going on in our community, how they can help. Send a donation to Boston Praise on Boston Praise Radio and
Mhm.
TV. You know, Amika,
I put my website address in the box of if anybody's interested on learning how to be a client in therapy or want some